All right. Hi, guys. This is 5 questions with my mom. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay. Questions are kind of on the deeper side. Well, first, introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is May.
May. Okay. What do you like to do? Tell me about yourself?
Well, I was, born in the 70s and I grew up in Thailand until I was about 10. Then my family came to the US. I think I got here when I was 11 in 1989.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you like it here?
I do enjoy living in the US. I had a chance to go to school. I think that's one thing that I really like. Because in Thailand, we can't afford to go to school. So,
Jeez.
sadly.
Okay. So I have the first question. It's what's something you know now that you wish you knew when you were my age? So I'm currently 23. I just turned 23. So
I wish I knew how to save money and understand a lot of the method of how to invest money. Because I think that's my biggest regret is not knowing how to save money and invest in my own money. I think that's the biggest mistake I make.
Okay.
I invest in things that I was convinced to be invest in, but it's not really translate into a good investment. So
okay. So you just wish like you had made smarter like financial decisions back then?
yes.
Okay. What was one of the hardest seasons of your life, and how did you get through it?
I think the hardest season of my life or time was I think when I was in college. I literally had 3 jobs and 2 kids, and it was hard.
How old were you?
I think I was like 20. I don't know, it was 2004. So I was in my 20, 23, 24, around there.
Okay, so I'm 23 right now, and I have no kids.
Yeah, so I literally had 2 part-time job, and then I pick up another full-time job, and then I work literally 7 days a week, and I go to school full-time. So you could imagine what kind of life I have.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
It was rough, but I really don't know how I got through it. Honestly, I try to go back to school, and now I don't have to take care of the kids. I could barely make it through. I was like, I can't do homework. I was like, I can't concentrate. I think it's just you're put in a situation where you have to do it. It's not a choice. It's more like a survival mode.
Like yeah, when you have all those like responsibilities to not only yourself but now your kids, you have to.
Yes, and also I really had to graduate from college. It's just something where I have to get it done. It's
And you graduated.
and I graduated. It took me forever. It took me 7 years after I changed my major, because I went in thinking that I wanted to be a doctor's, and I was a biology major's. I think 3 years in, I realized with the amount of time that is committed to my work and my kids, it's just no way I could get into med school. So I had to give it up.
Yeah,
Reality checked.
it's tough, man. That's a tough season. Okay. So the next question is, what are some qualities you hope I can carry with me for the rest of my life?
I think is being humble. I think people who are humble and people who have empathy towards other people is really the people who are going to have happier life. I think like you can be the most talented, but if you're not humble, I think over time you will start losing people around you, because it's just not everybody can live with people who have so much ego. And I think being practice being empathetic, or practice being empathetic with everyone, is because you have to understand where people are coming from. It's not always about you, right? In life, it's like sometimes people do things to you, but you have to ask yourself, like, where is this person coming from? It's not necessarily you. It might be that they were in a bad mood, and so now they react that way. So like, if you learn not to take things personally, I think between those 3 things, you'll be a lot happier person.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things, the only things you really can control, and I emphasize again, is like yourself. how you react to people, how you respond, how your action is what's going to determine who you are. Other people you can't control. You can't control how people react to what you said. You cannot control what people are going to do. Even yourself have hard time controlling what you're gonna do. So don't expect other people to, being able to control other people. But yeah, humble, practice empathy, and don't take things personally. I think if you learn those three things early on in your life, I think you'll become a much happier person.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that's been sticking with me recently is I heard this quote online. It's about how a lot of people see the actions you make but not the choices you had. It kind of makes me look at it from a different perspective about how to not judge people's final result and what they do, but rather you don't know, maybe that was the only choice they had, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely understandable. I always said you can see people smile at you and and say hi to you and give you what I call the face, right? The fake smile, however you want to call it. But deep down inside, you really don't know what they're going through. There's a lot of people who you see who say smile to you every day, and they're going through a terminal illness, or they have a loss in their family that they don't necessarily want to share with you, or they just been in a recent car accident, or lost loved one. You really don't know until somebody says something to you. Just because they come in and do the things that they do, you just assume they're fine, but there's a lot of things that happening behind the door and behind their emotion that you honestly don't know. I'll give you an example. Like one time when I was working and I was so frustrated with a manager who I tried to reach out. I called multiple times to get her to do something, and she would not respond. She would not respond to my email. She would not respond to my fax or my message. She just ignored all my message, my voicemail. So I was very frustrated, and I was like, "What is going on with this person? How can you be a high paid manager and not responsive?" But then come to find out later on that the manager was going through she was stage 4 cancer patient, and so she passed away. And so it really made me, I think in all that, what I learned was you don't know what people are going through. If you put yourself in that person's shoes, work might not never be your first priority. Your loved one and the struggle you're going through. So sometimes it's because somebody didn't do something, is not intentional. Sometimes people have other things that's much more important than what you're going through, what you're trying to get at. So I think that's part of learning to try to understand where people are coming from. I think that really helped.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say, guys, English is your second language, right? Or what is English?
English, you could say second or third.
Second or third language, and she's this well spoken, so that's crazy. All right, the fourth question I have is, when you think about a life well lived, what matters the most?
I think it's, not at this age. I really think about the, what legacy are you going to leave behind? I think that's important. Understanding that, things that you thought it's important now might not necessarily be important 10 years later. I think it's just, building relationship, right? Having good relationship with your family. And also, as you go through life, it's just, be kind to people, because you never know, that one kindness that you did might change somebody's life. I think that's where, I try really hard not to be mean to people, because I think it's one, it makes you unhappy, and I try not to hate people. I think is one, literally, when you hate someone or dislike someone so much, you become very unhappy. You think about them, you're not spending your quality time that you should be spending on focusing on family or on something, your dreams, or on things you want to do. Now you're spending your time thinking about that person.
Yeah.
And guess what? That
they're
person is
winning.
that person is out there living their life, never even have you on their mind, and so it's really, I always tell myself, like, you should not spend time hating other people, because then you give away your power.
Yeah.
Now you have no power, that you should be keeping to yourself. I said sometimes it's okay to, dislike someone, but 24 hours is a lot more than you need to, to go on. And I what I learned throughout my life is, if there's somebody who I honestly starting to dislike them,
Mhm.
I try to understand them. I try to talk to them more kind than anybody else, because I don't ever want that feeling of hating someone. I might not understand them, I might not, know exactly where they're coming from, but I don't have to hate them, because it just makes your life miserable. So
Yeah.
I think that's where I try to, avoid that kind of feeling towards people. So
Yeah. I think when I was younger, I definitely felt that way towards a lot of people, and I started to realize like hate is it's so bad for you because it starts to control you, and it's kind of what you're describing as well. Like when you hate someone, they have control over your mind. It kind of feels like they're winning, and so I don't know, over time, I started to like have that feeling less toward people because I don't know. It's like I hate when people are controlling, like sitting in my mind, and I know they're not thinking about me. It makes me feel like lame and like I hate that feeling. So I think over time, I started to stop resenting people like as much as I used to, at least.
yeah.
Okay. All right, last one. If my future children watch this, okay, let me reset. If my future children watch this one day, what would you want to tell them?
I One thing, I mean, to tell my great grandkids,
Not great grandkids, not great
grandkid. That's
grandkids.
true. That's just grandkids. Okay. Well, it could be great grandkids one anyway.
Yeah, one day.
Um, I think one is just, again, just be kind to people. I mean, ideally, in life, you only live so far. I mean, I think that, you know if you learn to be kind to people and be kind to yourself as well, throughout your life, you're going to meet a lot of different people. There are going to be people who loves you, and then there's going to be people who don't love you. And so it's kind of like you have to let go a lot of things. You have to learn to be kind to people, and then be kind to yourself. It's okay, like, if you make mistake, give yourself some grace. I say that all the time, like, if I screw up something, I had to ask myself, what lesson did I learn from that? Did I learn anything? And just not repeat the same mistake again. I think that's where people, when they don't learn that lesson, is where they become like, have low self-esteem. I think, like, people need to learn to forgive themselves, and learn to be positive. I think positive mindset goes a long, long way. Like, I tell people all the time, like, and practice, you need to motivate yourself. You need to appreciate yourself. You need to be grateful for what you have, and just be kind to people. I think kindness really, really goes a long way. That including being kind to yourself. So
Yeah, it's a great answer. All right, that's the last question. Uh, bye.
bye.